Hello and welcome to another yoga studio. I am Kat, if you haven't been with us on the mat before for one of our classes, and it's lovely to have everyone on the mat here with me today, so thank you for joining in. Today we're going to do some strength work for the legs using our Pilates exercises. You don't actually need to have any equipment, but if you have got some bits and pieces, they can be useful. I'm going to use what more people are likely to have laying around, shall we say, but by all means, if you have something like a kettlebell or some hand weights or something like that that you want to add into some of the exercises, then make sure you grab those for some of our standing exercises like squats and things like that. We can bring actual extra weights in. Something that you can use as a block or even a cushion like that at one point can be useful. We're going to be having it in between our thighs at one point, and then many of us do kind of have a collection of, or maybe one or two bands, resistance bands laying around. So again, if you've got some of those, grab those. It can be the ring type band or the long bands as well. So they're the bits of equipment that I will be using, but like I say, if you have got kettlebell, hand weights or anything like that that you want to bring in, make sure you've got those handy as well. So when you've got your weights, your resistance bands, your blocks, whatever you've got handy to use, let's come to our feet and get started. Okay, so we're going to have just a little bit of a warm-up to get us going, and then we're going to start off with some standing exercises. So when you're ready, we're going to breathe out, round forwards, scoop the belly in, tuck the tailbone under, press the hands forwards, and as you breathe in, circle the arms up, back, lift the chest. So rounding forwards, breathing in, stretching up. So as we start to move, checking in with the breath, finding the breath and the movement coming together. So one more. And then hands coming onto your hips, or we can leave them by your side if you're going to need a little bit of help with the balance. So we're going to breathe out, slide the right foot forwards, just take a little bend in the knee. Breathe in, pull it back in underneath. So breathe out, slide the left leg forwards. Starting to get a little bit of movement with the ankles, knees and hips. So if you need a little bit of help with balance, make sure you've got your wall by you or a sturdy bit of furniture that you can hold on to with the hands. Sometimes even when we've got both feet connecting to the floor, we can still have a little bit of wobbles going on. One more with the left. And then bring the feet in underneath you. Like I say, we're going to come into formal balance now, so have something next to you if you need it to help with the balance. We are drawing in through the center, taking the leg up, circling round. So getting a little bit more movement now right into that hip joint, oiling the hip joint up, and then circle back the other way. And if you need to, take your arms to the side to help with any little wobbles going on. And then swap sides, so we're going to take it onto the other leg again. We're drawing in, so even though we're thinking about legs, we're still firing up our core, using those muscles in the belly to help here with our balance. So drawing the belly button in towards the back of your spine and in towards the back of the rib cage. Circle back round the other way. And then we're going to take the right foot up just a little way in front. Roll up through onto the toes. Little bend in both knees. Straighten. And then take the foot up so we get a little dip back with the hips. So rolling through the toes. And then rolling onto the heel. So still got a little bit of movement going through our ankles, knees and hips. while we take a little bit of movement with the feet. And then let's swap over. So we'll just have the left foot just a little way in front so we've got room to move forwards and backwards. So rolling up, just seeing how far over the toes you can come, how far onto the back of the heel. It might even be that we only get onto tiptoes there. We don't actually roll over the top of the toes. Take one more. Okay, bring the feet back in underneath the hips, and we'll step them out then just a little bit wider. Nice easy twist. I'm going to turn around to face the front then now. Just a bit of movement through the whole of the body. We can swing the arms a little bit. And then come back into the middle. I'm already starting to caffle my mat up. Just keep an eye on the mat. If you do find yours caffles up a little bit, we might need to just make sure we straighten it out so we don't get caught up. All right, so our first little exercise is going to be a step into a lunge, and we're going to be working with the same leg. So we're going to do a round of 10 to either side. So when you're ready, we're going to take a big step forwards with the right foot. Bend both knees, push it back. So we're going to step forwards, bend both knees. The back knee doesn't come towards the floor. And don't worry if you've got just a little bend. It doesn't have to be a big bend. We're still coming in to a lunge. A lot of work for the muscles in the calves, a little bit of a wobble. So that's 7, we're going to go 8. And remember, like I said earlier when we were just warming up, use your arms as you need to help with your balance. 10, okay, swap sides. We're going to go 1. So nice big step, bending both knees. Maybe feel this way you can come down a little bit lower. Maybe not quite as far. And again, we don't have to touch the floor. If the knee does tap, that's fine, but it's just a tap. We're not actually coming to put our weight into that back knee. So we're coming to 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, give the legs a little shake out. So we're going to come into a little bit of balance then now. So again, hold on to something if you need it. Sturdy bit of furniture, the wall. So if that means stepping off your mat, step off the mat. We're going to breathe out, draw in through the center. Take the right leg up just as far as it will go so we can then straighten it. So as you breathe out, straighten the leg and bend. Straighten and bend. And again, we're aiming for 10. So as ever, if you can't quite manage the full set of reps each time, we don't need to worry about it. We can just finish when we're ready. So we're on 7, 8, firing up those quad muscles, 9, and 10. Bend the knee, take the foot down, swap sides. So the foot's back in underneath the hips. We're again just finding that awareness of the core as we pull the left leg up. Maybe the slightest tuck under with the tailbone to make sure we're not arching the back. And then wobble away as we breathe out, stretch and bend. So maybe this leg feels it lifts a little higher. Maybe it doesn't lift as high at all. We can be all the way down here if we need it. We're still extending that knee and getting into those muscles, into the upper thigh, into the thighs there. We have 3 more to go. So we're going 8. Breathe out 9. Breathe out 10. Good. Take the legs back down. So we're going to have feet in underneath the hips. We're going to take some little heel raises, get a bit of work into the calves. So as you breathe out, lift up. So again, if you need a bit of help with the balance, your piece of furniture, your wall is there. So breathe out, lift, control, and lower. again, we're still noticing drawing inwards. 3 more, so we're going 8, 9, 10. All right, so we're going to try and do that on one leg. If that's way too much for your balance today, carry on and we'll do 2 more sets with both heels lifting. So shift your weight through so that you can stand on one side. Remember that wall is there if you need it or whatever you're using. And we're going to lift. Again for 10, so that's 2. Breathe out 3. Don't worry if you wobble. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, swap sides. So square the other foot in underneath the hip. Take the weight over, through onto the leg. Draw in through the center. We're going to breathe out, lift. So focusing with one eye on a little spot in front of you to help with that balance. And that is halfway there. So we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, oh good clunk going through my ankle then, 1, and lower down, good, give the legs a little shake out and then plant the feet so they are about hip width apart, so that we're going to come through some squats. We're going to take the knees over the toes, so squats are a great one if you have got some hand weights or a kettlebell or anything like that to hold on to give you that little bit of extra resistance through holding on to the weight. No worries, if you haven't got anything, we will use our own body weight to fire up the muscles again through the thighs and into our glutes. So we're going to breathe out, reach forwards and come up. Breathe out, reach. So the weight is sinking back through the heels. And we're pushing the hips back. So each time you come down, you should feel like you can almost wriggle your toes up off the floor. So we're doing double legs here. We're going to add on an extra set. So 1, 2. Remember, breathe out lower. Don't worry if you can't come very far. And that brings us up to 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay. Take the feet wide then now. Same idea, but coming into a more of a plie position, a bit of a wider leg. So for this one, we're turning our feet out a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing. Push the knees out, come wide again. Use your weights, hand weights here, kettlebell if you want to use them. Otherwise, we're going to keep the hands on the hips for now. So breathe out, take it down, and lift. So 6, we're only doing 10 because we're going to add on something a little different. 7, 8, keep pushing those knees wide, and 10. Okay, breathe in, push up, and then breathe out. Take it down, and we're going to try and lift the heel. So take one heel up and lower. Take the other side. So 3, keep nice and low, or as low as you can manage. We're going to feel a little bit of burn come into those thigh muscles. 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. And push all the way back up. See if you can keep those legs out wide. And take a little balance on the toes for a moment. Focus the eyes. Find your breath. Remember, you've got that aid there to help with the balance if we need it. and then lower down. Fab. Give the legs a little bit of a shake out. So we are going to move our way down towards the floor, but if you feel that you would like to do that standing section all over again, then pause now, take it back to the start of our standing sequence, and you can repeat it as many times as you want. All right, for those of us who are coming straight down towards the floor, relax the shoulders, breathe in, and then as you breathe out, take the chin down. We're just going to go take a couple of rounds of our roll down. Pause at the bottom, breathe in. A little bend in the knees, tuck the tailbone under, rounding up. So, chin down, come towards the floor. Hopefully feeling just a little bit warmer now. As if you've started to fire up the muscles in the lower body. So we're going to roll down one more time. This time, we're going to walk the hands out and come all the way down towards the floor. So this is where, if you have got a band, we can actually grab hold of the band. Now we're going to come into our clam, get into our glute muscles a little bit more. So if you have the rounded bands, then, or loop bands, I don't know how you want to call them, we can roll them round and they're just going to come in just around the backs of the thighs and towards the knees. If you haven't, grab your long band and we can find that loop by wrapping it around the legs and just putting a knot then into the band. Don't tie the band too tight, because otherwise when we do come to try and unknot it in a moment, we're going to be a bit too tight, the knot's going to be a bit too tight. So stack one foot, knee on top of each other. We're going to take it down. You can put a cushion under the head if you prefer. Otherwise, we'll use the arm to just give us a little bit of a cushion. Hips and shoulders are stacked. And remember, in our climb, we're not rolling backwards to move the knees. We're going to fire it all up from our hip joints. So again, we've got a little bit of awareness of the core, drawing the belly button into the back of the rib cage. And then as you breathe out, squeezing in, thinking about the movement coming from that hip joint, take the leg up, and then breathe in lower. So breathe out, lift. So like I say, if you haven't got a band, you can still get the benefit of this exercise without. You're doing exactly the same movement. Keep a little bit of drawing in. We've got 3 more to go. So 8, 9, and 10. So while we've got the band there ready on our legs, we're going to come straight round onto the other side. So it doesn't matter how you shift yourself. Just want to put the other leg on top. So knees, feet and hips again all nicely stacked, shoulders stacked. Support the head however you feel best. And then we're gluing the feet together, thinking about the muscles in that hip there, breathing out, lifting. And lying down. So sometimes it helps just to keep the other hand behind you. Maybe just to gently put a little bit of pressure there to remind you that you're not rolling back. Or notice if there is a little bit of movement. And then it brings us to 5. So the stronger your band here, the tighter it's knotted. Obviously the more resistance we're going to get. So that brings us to 7. Breathe out 8. Breathe out 9. Breathe out 10. Alright, okay, good. Come then round. Up to sitting. take the band away. So we're going to take a little bit more work for our quad muscles. Repeat what we did for our balance, but we're going to do it in a seated position. So if you've got the rounded bands, the loop ones, we can use that. This is possibly one that's a little bit easier to do with the longer bands. And again, like I said, if you haven't got anything, we're going to do exactly the same movement seated. So our quad muscles can be quite strong. So you might want to give yourself a stronger band, maybe even doubling the band over so you've got a little bit more resistance. So maybe a little bend in the leg when not working. You can do it with a straight leg. This fires up our core nicely as well, this one, because we're going to breathe out. Take a little tuck under, squeeze inwards, just so that we make sure that as we're working with the band, we don't end up leaning back on ourselves and through our lower backs. So plant your foot into the center of your band. Bring your knee in nice and tight towards your chest. You can use your band to help you here. We'll think about relaxing the shoulders, and then as you breathe out, we are going to push the leg away, extend through the knee, just like we did when we were balancing, and then release. So breathe out, push, and release. So you don't have to completely straighten the knee. We're not looking at locking the knee out as such. We just want to be pretty much straight so that we have fired up as many of the quad muscles, quadricep muscles as we can. So we come to 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Take the leg down and let's swap sides. So again, it's up to you whether you have this leg straight or with a little bend in it. Plant the foot into the middle of your band again. Just make sure you've got that little tuck under. We've got that tiny little roll so that we don't start to arch back. We're drawing in through the center, lengthening up out from the crown of the head, shoulders, and not trying. Going to try and relax and then breathe out, push away. So we call them our quadricep muscles because we've actually got 4 of them in our upper thigh. Seven, 8, 9, and 10. And then lower the leg back down, give the legs a little shake out. And we are going to come round then on to your belly. So rest the head on the hands. Feet are going to come together so that we can feel the connection roughly of the legs then coming together. Breathe out, take the legs up. We're going to come into some little heel beats. So turn the feet out to the side and I'm going to beat the heels quickly together 5 times. Take a breath in. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lower. So a bit of a quicker exercise this time to fire up the muscles in the back of the legs. So again, we've got a little bit of work for the lower back and for the glute muscles here, which is why we're going to lift, move quick, and then lower. So we're going to do that 3 more times. So draw the belly in, fire up the muscles in the back and the glutes, lift the leg up. Take a breath in, turn the feet out, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lower. Don't worry if your heels miss-minded then, it's still getting that inward action, and obviously we don't want to smack our heels together too hard either. Okay, so breathe out, take the legs up, breathe in, turn the feet out, so we've got the heels pointing inwards, and then on the next breath out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lower. So we've got one more set, to go. So when you're ready, breathe out. Feet, remember, are starting off quite close together. We're going to lift them up using the muscles in the back, using the muscles in our glutes. Turn the feet out as we breathe in. And then breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lower. Give your hips a little roll from side to side. And then we are going to push ourselves back into a child's pose. So just give your back and your hips a little loose here. And then we want to come back round onto one side, support the head. Keep the bottom knee bent, just as if we were coming into clam. Reach around, find your ankle or your foot, and we're going to try and squeeze the heel then round and up in towards your bottom. So this is one where if you can't quite get hold of it, bring the knee up towards you, put your band around it, and then we can actually use that to pull the heel round and in towards us. And then release. Come on around, on towards your back. Just remember which side you've done, because we're actually going to stretch the quads out on the other side in a moment. And if you have got a block or a cushion or anything like that, this is where we're going to bring that in and take the block in between our inner thighs, and we're going to take some bridge work. So, set yourself. Think about just being roughly in your neutral spine position. So we've got a little lift underneath the back, so we've got room to move through the spine. Relax the shoulders. We're going to get the glutes working, but also fire up the muscles on the inner thigh. So when you're ready, breathe out. Start to squeeze whatever you've placed in between your knees, your thighs. Peel yourself up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Roll back down towards the floor. And then repeat. Breathe out, squeeze. Drawing up with the pelvic floor, using your glute muscles for support. Roll up as far as you can go. Keep squeezing. And then breathe out, repeat. Replace. A nice little bit of movement for the back here, while we also fire up our adductors, the muscles that run along the inner thighs. So this brings us to number 5. And if you forget to squeeze, and whatever you've placed in between your knees slides out, no worries. We're just going to pick it up and put it back in between your knees. So we've got number 7. Keep thinking about drawing up with the pelvic floor as well. So using the core muscles right at the base of the pelvic bowl there. So let's go for 3 more. So we're coming in for number 8. If you felt yourself sliding up the mat at all and like you're not going to be stacked with your knees and your ankles at all as you roll up, by all means make those little adjustments, mini adjustments, so we're keeping good technique as we go. Last one, breathe out, roll up. And then take the block out the way. Come to a figure 4 stretch. Stretch out your glute muscles. So take the right foot over onto the left thigh. So we just want to have the bony bit of the ankle on the thigh. We can hold it here, or as you breathe out, take the foot up off the floor. Maybe try and reach round then. Hold the back of the thigh if you can. Squeeze the knee in towards you. And of course, we can also got that option of taking our band and pulling in there as well if we've been using a band. Just some slow breaths here, stretching out through the muscles in the hip. And then release, take the feet down, swap sides. And then when you're ready, breathe out. Take the right foot up, reach round, try and find the back of the right thigh then. Again, use your band, or if you haven't got a band and you've got a strap of some sort, of course we can always use those as well. It doesn't have to be something stretchy to help us come into a stretch. And then lower down towards the floor, release the legs. Let's roll on around onto your other side. So we take a stretch through the other quad muscles now. So looking the other way, bending the knee. Remember to use whatever you've got handy to hold onto the ankle or the foot if you need it. Pulling the heel then up in towards your bottom. Trying to press the knee so that it's underneath the hip. We can always just take a little press of the hand back in towards the foot back into the hand as well. Sorry, if we want to go just a little deeper. And then release the leg. And from here we can roll up and round onto our side, stretching the legs out in front. Lengthen upwards, and then when you're ready, breathe out. Come forwards. Let's get a little stretch into the backs of the legs. So, releasing off the work from our beats that we did earlier, those little heel beats, actually more into the legs then now. And then sit up. Come on round onto a tabletop position. I will just do 2 or 3 rounds of cat stretch. So breathing out, rounding up. Breathing in, working the spine back the other way. Even though, like I said earlier on, we were focusing on our legs, there were still other parts of the body that get moved and used. And then come back into neutral. Tuck the right toes under, slide the right foot away, press back through the heel so we can get a little stretch into the calf muscles. And then bring the knee back in underneath you. Tuck the left toes under, push away. Stretch back through the left heel. Stretch out through the back of the left leg. And then come back into tabletop. Tuck the toes under. As you breathe out, draw in through the belly. Squeeze the hips up so we come into our V shape or our A-frame. Trying to push the heels back down in towards the floor here so we get a stretch through the whole of the back of the legs. And then walk your hands back in towards your feet, bending your knees as much as you need to. We'll take a little hang there for a breath or two. And then bend the knees, breathe out, round all the way up. Breathe in, stretch both arms up. And then when you're ready, breathe out. Relax the arms down by your side. Okay, fab. Well done. That has completed exercises for today. So actually, if you wanted to repeat any of that again, you can, so that maybe as you feel stronger, you can repeat each exercise as you go along. You could also go back and repeat all of the floor work now as well. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a little thumbs up if you did. Remember, you can leave any comments or questions below. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you'll know when our next video comes out. All right, take care then now. Bye.